breaking news. FBI Director Kash Patel says his agency prevented what he's calling a potential terrorist attack planned for the Halloween holiday weekend in Michigan. Let's go live now to our Bryn Gingras. Bryn, we've learned that multiple people have been arrested. What else do we know here?
Yeah, you know, very thin on the information, Pam. I got to be honest with you. I got to tell you, so many reporters at CNN are making phone calls trying to connect the dots, exactly what is going on here, what the FBI Director Kash Patel is talking about in that post, but they have not released any more information. What we know is that he said that there was a thwarted attack that was plotted to happen over the Halloween weekend, and as a result, multiple people have been arrested. The big questions here are, how far along was this plot really in its developmental process? Like, was it actually going to happen this weekend? Where are the potential targets? And of course, who might be involved? Are we talking about domestic terrorism? Are we talking about inspiration from overseas terrorists? So these are all questions that we are asking our sources, and we are coming close to getting a little bit more detail, but not there quite yet. But of course, we'll bring that to you. What we also know, Pam, this morning is that Dearborn officials in Michigan, which is a suburb of Detroit, and Inkster both have confirmed, and the FBI in Detroit field office as well, that activity was taking place, investigation by FBI officials happening in their cities. They put out a public alert saying, listen, people can relax, there is no need for alarm, that those investigations were happening in cities by the FBI. So we know that they are happening in those two towns, active investigations by the FBI, but again, not much more detail about that. Of course, this is Halloween, October 31st. Again, I've been saying it harkens for me just being in New York, that incident that happened back in 2017, that, terrorist-inspired attack that happened along the West Side Highway in New York, killing 8 people. So this is a day, as you know, Pam, so many law enforcement on high alert. And of course, this sounds like a potential terrorist attack was thwarted. So we're working to get more details, and as soon as I get them, we'll bring them to you.
We all are. I was making calls too before the show, trying to get any more details. I know you're working the phones too, Bryn. Hopefully we can learn a little bit more. Thanks so much for that.
Right.
So just to try to better understand what we know and put into context, I want to bring in Daniel Brunner, a retired FBI special agent and president of the Brunner Sierra Group. Daniel, first of all, just how unusual is this for the FBI director to send out a tweet like this, that a potential terrorist attack was stopped, was averted, without sort of more detail? So we're left hanging here a little bit.
Well, we've learned, I think, with this administration and with this FBI director, that the norm of what has always been, especially with social media, is not the normal with him. He likes to tweet out information quickly, immediately. Listen, to one point, to one extreme, I understand it brings, understanding of what is happening, because there's a lot of FBI agents probably working right now near the site where this alleged incident occurred. So there's going to be a lot of questions. So in the lack of, having answers, he put it out there. Now, normally the public affairs office for the Detroit office will typically put something out, or the public affairs office for FBI headquarters. But normally the FBI director doesn't tweet information. We've already learned sometimes they can get himself in trouble where he puts out information that isn't exactly accurate. So now we're not seeing evidence. We're not seeing information as to what this incident occurred, but we're seeing some incidents of, individuals, and obviously Dearborn Police Department putting out information to their locals, letting them know that they are handling a situation.
Yeah. So what is going on, do you think, behind the scenes right now with the FBI? Because you have this, and we're waiting to learn more, but also just the overall heightened security posture around an event like Halloween.
Well, especially around events like this, we always stood up a minimized command post in Newark to be prepared for a situation, to immediately bring in all the resources needed to incident command. This was, if this was done normally, you have a 6 a.m. operation done in Michigan, which means that this was an investigation that was occurring. This was an imminent incident that was suddenly probably given to them as a tip last night. So this was probably a planned operation at 6 a.m. And this is typically what they want to do in an FBI investigation is they want to get as much information and evidence against the individuals that are conducting this alleged attack, and to almost to the point where they're about to conduct the attack. So if they're planning it, they don't want to get it too early because that'll not be enough evidence. But if they're planning it and getting everything ready, if there were undercover agents, they're gathering evidence. If there was electronic surveillance, they're gathering all the conversations. So there's a lot of data coming in, and I'm sure that we're going to get more information once a press conference is held later today.
And tell us more about just the timing of this Halloween. I know a lot of parents are looking at this and thinking, well, we're going to go trick-or-treating tonight with our family. Should we be on heightened alert? What do you make of the timing?
Well, I think that anytime, we're out with our family, especially events like this that are large gatherings of people, groups of people, you should undoubtedly be a little bit more aware of your surroundings. People that are completely enclosed and not paying attention to their surroundings, that's it adds a little bit more danger. But events like this, where there are large gatherings of people, I don't think anybody should not go because they feel afraid. I don't think anybody should change their way. The FBI, local police departments, state officials, they're all working really hard, and they're aware of these large events. Thanksgiving, Christmas, we're coming up on a lot of different times where they are large gatherings of people. So keeping yourself aware of your situation, listening to law enforcement, and having a plan to be prepared to get out of a situation. Think about that. When you go to an event, don't put yourself in a corner. If you know you're going to be like, okay, if the situation happens, let's go this way, let's go to the left, listen to law enforcement, listen to your federal authorities. That'll be the best way.
Sad you even have to think about that, but in this day and age, you do. Daniel Brunner, thank you so much. Appreciate you coming on. I want to bring in Andrew McCabe, CNN senior law enforcement analyst and former deputy director of the FBI, to better understand this. What is your reaction to this news, and what does ISIS-inspired suggest to you, Andy?
Well, ISIS-inspired is that's the moniker that our counterterrorism professionals, the FBI and other agencies are most concerned about, right? We saw that very recently in the January 1st attack this year, the individual who attacked the crowds, excuse me, in New Orleans, Louisiana, same thing there, ISIS-inspired. So it's very serious. It indicates a desire to inflict mass casualties. My reaction to this, Pam, is I'm just thrilled that the FBI is still doing this kind of very delicate, very hard work, finding these individuals wherever they are congregating, whether that's online or in the real world, and doing what's necessary to make an assessment of whether or not this is just talk, or if it's been elevated to the level of an actual conspiracy to take action and hurt people. It's good. It's great work.
Yeah, help us better understand that, how the FBI makes that determination. If an FBI agent's in a chat room and they're talking about a plot and then use references like Pumpkin Day around the holiday weekend, how do you make the determination that they're close to being operational versus just chatting in a chat room and throwing stuff out there?
Sure. So I think it's important to note that the FBI investigates individuals. They don't investigate locations, either online locations, chat rooms, or other physical places. So when your investigation of people takes you into one of these, it enables you to establish like a surveillance or an intelligence collection opportunity in one of these chats, then the focus becomes on 2 points. It's intent and capability. So you're listening to that chat. You are trying to assess, do these people intend to actually harm others? And do they have the capability to do so? So you're looking for mentions of things like preparation, like the acquisition of weapons or of precursor chemicals. Now, we don't know what they had in this situation, but I'm just speaking hypothetically. Those are the sorts of things that you look for. Using an online undercover, which apparently they did here, according to some of our sources, is one of the best ways to do that. You have to have someone in that conversation who can monitor it and to make those real-time assessments as to intent and capability.